Hello students, today I am going to explain about paper 2, that is education paper. The first question, phenomenology is a method basically used in. So here we can understand about phenomenology. Here they have given 4 options: educational research, philosophical research, historical research and experimental research. Here, if we may know about all these, even sometimes it is very difficult to identify the answer. For example, educational research, which is focused on investigating issues related to the education and learning, include the studies on learning methods, curriculum development, student performance, educational policies. Second option, which is philosophical research, which is focus on inquiry, exploration of the fundamental questions about the existence, knowledge, ethics, and nature of the reality. Historical research, which is focus on past events, development, and occurrence. Experimental research, which is focus on scientific method, inquiry used to establish the cause and effect relationship between the variables. See, if we go through all this detailed information about this, but even we cannot identify unless until we are knowing the specific meaning of phenomenology. So the phenomenology which is comes under qualitative research. With this, we can try to understand on ground realities. Like if you want to know about the what are the phases problems by the student, first we have to understand the psychological, sociological, economical conditions of the students. For that we have to go to their home and we need to study their family background. Later we can come to the conclusion, the reason behind why some students are performing very bad, some students are behaving in different way. So that is the reason the phenomenology which is closely related to the philosophical research. So second one is the right option. So the philosophical research, phenomenology is a philosophical approach to understanding and describing the structure and essence of human experience. While it can be applied in the various fields, it is primarily a method used in philosophical research to explain the nature of consciousness, perception, and subjective experiences. The second question, the status quo of situation in research can be studied. So here the first option is experimental research. The experimental research, in the first question we already studied about, which is focus on scientific, used to be investigate the case, cause and effects relationship between the variable. In this type of research, researcher manipulate the one more independent variable to observe their impact on the dependent variable. The second option is survey research. The survey research involves collecting the data from sample of the individuals of entities through structured questionnaires, interviews, or other survey instruments. It is commonly used to gather information about the attitude, opinion, performance, or behavior of the population. So already we had discussed about the phenomenological research. So it may not be the answer, then only one, that is historical research. So the second question answer should be historical research. Let us we understand about what is historical research. Here the historical research is often used to study the status of quo or the past conditions of a situation. It involves examining historical records and documents to understand how things were in the past. The third question, which of the following is incorrect as measure of dispersion? Qualitative deviation, range, standard deviation, sample, error. So here they have given four options. What about uh, qualitative deviation? So here it is measure of statistical depression that indicate the spread of variability of data in a data sheet. It is calculated as of the difference between the third quartile Q3 and first quartile Q1 of the data. What about the range? So range is the simplest measure of the dispersion and represent the difference between the maximum and minimum value in the data set. Third one, that is standard deviation. Standard deviation is a widely used measure of depression that quantifies the average amount of variation or deviation of the data point from the mean. It means average. Fourth one, that is sampling error. So sampling error refers to the error of description of that occurs when you talk sample form or larger population instead of the studying the entire population. It is the difference between the sample estimate and true population parameter. The sampling error can result from the various factors including size. So here we may go with third option, that is sampling error. So I was seeing all the responses of the students for this test 2. I think so only few students they secured 7 out of 10. So most of the students even they could not secure 2, 3, 4 marks like that. It means it is somewhat difficulty. So these type of questions are difficulty type of questions. Out of 75 questions, we may not expect all the time which is difficult. So every paper it consists of easy type of questions and average type of questions and difficulty type of questions. That is the reason, don't worry students, these 10 questions may be a little bit difficulty. So the fourth question, which is the selection test for admission to the teacher training program was suggested by. So NCTE, National Council for Teacher Education, NAC, NPER, NCERT. So here the correct answer, which is, what is the correct answer here? Everyone can guess, I think so, that is NCERT. So here NCTE, National Council for Teacher Education. So NCTE is an acronym for the National Council for Teacher Education. It is statutory body in India. NCTE plays a crucial role in the accreditation and recognition of the teacher training institutions only. That is the key point here. So NAC, National Assessment and Accreditation Council. NAC stands for National Assessment and Accreditation Council. It is an autonomous body in India responsible for assigning and accrediting higher education institution including the universities and colleges. Here NPERC. So here NPERC, which is related to programs. So there is a committee, whatever program which is initiated by the government of India, this NPERC committee also can guide them whether it is proper or not. The fourth option, which is NCERT, National Council of Educational Research and Training. But these days we all seeing even our net examination also conducting by National Testing Agency. So very recently Government of India has initiated to conduct all kind of higher university education examinations, including the teacher recruitment, even CTET, NET, NET. So this was the old paper. That is the reason here they did not mention NTA, National Testing Agency. So as per given options only, we should select appropriate one. So NCERT is the appropriate one. Fifth one, NCTE was established by an act of parliament in. So this is also one kind of biggest confusion might be there sometimes, which in given options very close. That time, as a aspirant, though we were studied a lot, though we were have a lot of experience, sometimes we everyone might be commit to mistake. Why? Because see, if you can see the option here, A, B, C, D, very close, 1975, 1995, 1996, 1986. As per my knowledge, it's true, except C, remaining three are very closely associated with the NCT. Let us see here. I have given brief information. Here, National Council for Teacher Education, which is started from actually 1973. That time it was acted as a advisory body. After 1986 and program of action, they have suggested to Government of India to make it as a autonomous body. So it is become 1st July 1995 as a autonomous body. But as per the given question here, in the year 1975 is the correct option. The sixth one, the reliability coefficient cannot be negative because. So here, as per given options, if you can see, it is a square of a correlation coefficient. Negative reliability is a meaningless. It is a self correlation of the test. It does not measure different things. It is a square of correlation coefficient y. Reliability coefficient or typically squared correlation, and correlation coefficient can range from -1 to 1 always. This one we have to remember, that is always -1 to 1. Seventh one, mobility and orientation training is linked with mobility and orientation. Mobility means motor skills. So student with hearing impairment, student with mental retardation, student with visual impairment, student with learning disability. So mobility and orientation training is linked with. So who required mobility and orientation requirement? As per given option, we need to be opt appropriate one. So who is suffering from hearing impaired means they could not able to hear properly. Those are required mobility orientation training. Students with mental retardation. So coming to mental retardation, there are four stages of mental retardation: mild, moderate, severe, profound. So who are under profound, usually they cannot do any kind of works from their end. Someone has to be help them every time. So even they don't also require. even who are having some mild mental retardation, they can able to do their own works. Student with learning disability, here there is no such kind of evidence. Learning disability, even there are 4 types of learning: dyslexia, dysgraphia, dyscalculia. So here, student with visual impairment, they required, why? So they could not able to see properly. That's why sometimes we can see and observe also some other people what they are doing, actions with their hands that may not be appropriate with their actions and movements. Why? Because they couldn't able to see properly. So mobility and orientation training are essential for the students with visual impairment to help them navigate their environment and developing uh, spatial awareness. Eighth one, idiots are labeled as having an IQ range. So whenever we go through IQ table, easily we can identify idiots were laid out. So the appropriate answer is here 0 to 25. Less than 0 to 25 is we can treat idiots. So in traditional terminology, individuals with extremely low IQ scores were sometimes labeled as an idiot, and their IQ range could fall in 0 to 25 range. So here we can see. So here I have given for your better understanding. Intellectually poor. Here you can see intellectually poor students. So here intellectually poor students 69 and below. 69 and below. So their percentage in the population 0.01 percentage. Borderline 70 to 79 IQ. Below average 80 to 89. Average 90 to 109. So this is the highest percentage. Here you can see 25 to 73. High average group, gifted 110 to 129, 132 above IQ, 98 to 99 means how much difference here? Only 1.5. Only 1.5 percentage of people maybe comes under very gifted children. So this table maybe help you to understand how can we identify their classification on the basis of the IQ. Ninth question, that is National Knowledge Commission is headed by. So we know all Hotari Commission, Amartya Sen, he belongs to economics. Sam Pitroda, Ajim Premji. Ajim Premji also we all know about uh, the correct option, that is Sam Pitroda. Explanation: the National Knowledge Commission in India was chaired by the Sam Pitroda, an internationally recognized telecom inventor and entrepreneur. The last one, the source of the knowledge. Advaita Vedanta. 2, 3, 4, 6. Which one is the right? 4 is the right. In Advaita Vedanta, there are 4 main sources of knowledge known as pramanas: perception, inference, testimony, and comparison. So that is pratyaksha, that is called perception. Anumana, inference. Anumana means it's a doubt. testimony, shabad, shabda, testimony, shabda. Comparison, upamana, means giving some examples. That is called comparison, upamana. Okay, thank you, student. I think this explanation may be helpful.